So what we have here is a collection of literature and writing books by Zaner-Bloser. This is Common Core material for first graders, third graders, and sixth graders. And again, this is literature and writing Common Core. What I want to do is just open up and see if there's a theme that becomes apparent here. Let's just start from the beginning. Introducing the theme. In the Voices Democracy theme, students use their voices to advocate solutions to social problems. They're engaged in learning the following theme-related social knowledge and skills: social role models, social advocacy, respect for each other, and so forth. This is a theme that you see throughout all of the books here. This is not about writing. This is really about social advocacy, or rather using writing to achieve social advocacy goals. Same thing in the third grade. We'll get into this in a minute. And again in sixth grade, just opening up with the author's declaration of what this is about. In the Our World, Our Future theme, students learn about social values that, according to Zaner-Bloser, unite us as a country. Social values, social obstacles, group problem solving, and social justice. That's the stated purpose of these books. They ask questions like, what kind of world do we want to live in, and so forth. So let's drill down into some examples. Back to first grade. This is for six-year-olds. We've talked about what the theme is: advocate solutions for social problems. Let's look at one way that teachers are taught to teach the six-year-olds how to do this. In the democracy plan, they discuss social problems, and they introduce a democracy plan, and so forth. One of the first things they have them do is to learn how to use emotional words. Not fact-based words, not logic, but to persuade using emotion. So teachers are reminded to tell students that when they write a call to action, they should include emotional words to get readers to feel so strongly about the problem that they want to do what is being asked of them. And they give an example about ABC Company. Let's look at that example here in the Teaching Masters portion of this series. Talks about ABC Company. Here's the exercise that the students are supposed to do. Circle the problem in the call to action and put a box around the emotional words. They're really serious about teaching six-year-olds how to use emotional words, as if they don't know emotional words already. ABC Company wants to build new houses in our neighborhood. We need your help! Exclamation point. They want to tear down our park and build houses in its place. The company says they will move the park to another spot, but they refuse to tell us where or when. It could be months or even years. And back here in the teacher's script, it talks about why to use words like refuse. Refuse is a stronger word that makes the ABC Company sound as though they are hard to work with, which may make readers angry with them. Again, the purpose is to get the readers upset and angry, and to maybe even bend the truth a little bit. Why did the writer say we could be without a park for months or even years? By stating the worst that could happen if the company builds houses, the writer appeals to the reader's feelings of anger. Is this what you want your child to experience in their first grade classroom? So they go in and teach the six-year-olds how to use emotional words to get people to do what they want them to do, especially with social justice and social activism projects. What about assessment, when it's time to assess the students? And again, this is supposed to be a literature and writing book, but it really is, as stated in the introduction, about social activism. Let's look at an assessment activity. In italics, this is what the teacher is supposed to say. Think of a school-oriented problem and present it to the class. For example, the school needs balls and jump ropes for students to use at recess. Things that they're entitled to, that's what it sounds like. We're going to write a letter, so say to the students, we're going to write a letter to parents about the problem. We want to help them We want them to help solve the problem. We need parents to understand our problem, so we're going to use words that make them feel how important it is to help us. And the teacher's supposed to write anger, fear, and joy on the chalkboard. First time I read this, I just couldn't believe it. I was shocked. The teacher is supposed to help students stir up their parents to anger, fear, and then joy in order to get them to give them jump ropes and balls. So write the sentence, the children have nothing to do during recess. And say, remember this sentence is for your parents. How might a parent feel when he or she reads this sentence? And then discuss the feelings students suggest and guide the discussion as needed to the idea that parents may be upset or angry by this sentence. And that's really the goal, is to get parents upset or angry. I don't know why 6-year-olds need to be taught how to manipulate their parents. I think they probably already have a pretty good idea of how to do it. But nevertheless, in this literature and writing course, they are being taught in a very systematic way how to write using emotional words to stir up feelings and emotions in others. So finally, one last example here in this same series of teaching 6-year-olds how to use emotional words to manipulate the emotions in other people. Here's an exercise where the student's supposed to read each sentence and then choose the emotional word or phrase to complete each one. They're not being taught logic, they're not taught persuasion through facts, they're taught to persuade with emotional words. The little girl does not like or can't stand wearing her boots. Well, of course, the emotional word is can't stand. I skipped down here to this one that caught my eye. My mom always tells me to clean my room, or my mom always nags me to clean my room. And the students are being taught to use the word nags me. My mom always nags me to clean my room. As a parent, it doesn't feel very good to see a publisher try and marginalize the parent-child relationship. But that's a whole separate topic.
So is there anywhere in this series where it helps these young 6-year-olds and up to avoid being manipulated by the words, like as if they're being taught these things so that they can avoid being manipulated by emotional arguments?
Gosh, I really wish it was. I wish that this was a course to teach children not to be manipulated by emotional words, but in fact it is the opposite. You go back to the teacher's script. It's telling students when they write a call to action, they should use emotional words to get readers to be upset, to be angry, to be fearful. They're teaching students to deliberately use emotion to manipulate their readers into doing what they want them to do, whether or not it's actually the truth.
Yeah, it's just stunning that any publisher would come up with material like this and push it off on the school system, and parents are just completely unaware of what's going on in the classrooms.
Well, the encouraging thing is that more and more parents are becoming aware, and they're realizing that they can't just set it and forget it. They can't send their kid off to the school and just forget about it and know that they're in the hands of professionals. No, they're in the hands of publishers, and I as a parent have an obligation to know what is being taught to my child. And more parents are understanding that. So here we have the Voices, Literature and Writing for 3rd grade, Common Core. This one's called Pursuing Our Dreams. And again, it says it's about literature and writing, but this assessment handbook seems to assess something other than just literature and writing. I want to read very carefully about this student observation form. It's a rubric that's given to teachers so that they can, it's an informal assessment tool that notes growth and change, not in literature and writing, but in an individual student's behaviors and attitudes. Huh? Okay, behaviors and attitudes. Well, let's see what this is about. Okay. Role play at the beginning, if they're just learning, if they're really good at it, okay, if they've mastered the skill. So these are the skills. One of these skills kind of stood out to me. What do you see there?
Use first-person plural voice to advocate ways to solve the problem.
Right, so teaching these 3rd graders to use the word our and us, first-person plural, to advocate ways to solve a problem. Now, again, if this is about high school social activism class, fine. But third grade literature and writing, I just don't understand. It's a non sequitur. Here's the actual form. It's not all bad. It talks about respect for others, following rules, and then it gets to a social viewpoint. And it's very interesting here. These are values that somebody has decided are important for everybody to learn, especially third graders. Know when something's unfair. Observation 1, observation 2, and they're looking for, has this student fine-tuned their sense of unfairness? Okay, what about recognizing social problems? Again, watching for changes in behaviors and attitudes that have to do with social problems. Okay, maybe you don't have a problem with, helping students fine-tune their social problem sensitivity, but why not economic problems? Why not political problems? Why not, why pick social problems, and how did social advocacy become the theme here of a literature and writing class? Social problem solving, apparently working with others to solve group problems is again part of this literature and writing thing. Just seems like a non sequitur.